Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Carla Sines. I'm the VP of Client Services at ESI, and we're very happy to have you today. Today, what we're going to talk about is our new applicant tracking tool, ESI Hiring. It's powered by HiringThing. We're excited to bring it to you because a lot of what we hear from our clients whenever our HR business partners and our service teams talk to them about what's happening in their business is it usually has to do with hiring, right? Getting the right talent in place, and as important as that is, it can also be pretty frustrating. So that's why we're so excited to introduce ESI hiring to you all today. ESI hiring it's just really designed to make hiring more simple for you, really. So it's to bring everything into one place, your job ads, your people, all those automations that we're going to show you today. Our speaker today is Nicole Christo. Nicole's with HiringThing. She's going to take some time to walk you through the platform and answer any questions that you all may have. And as part of that, like we do ask you if you'd like to please enter those questions in the chat. This is being recorded, so we will be happy to follow up with the recording just after. And she will kick it off with the hiring landscape and the demo. But as she's doing that, I want you to think about maybe your last hire and think about what maybe made that a little bit more difficult for you, and then think about how this could help solve those problems. And as you do that, of course, we welcome those questions as you have them. And Nicole, I just want to kick it over to you. Share your expertise with our team, and then dive into our demo.
Thanks, Carla. All right, we are going to go ahead and get started here. Let me just share my screens for you all. Alrighty, well, hi everyone. Thank you, Carla, for the introduction. Thanks so much for joining today. I'm really excited to be here and walk you through ESI hiring. Like Carla said, we work closely with ESI, and today's session is meant to be like a little practical introduction into the platform and how it can hopefully support your hiring process. What we're going to do is we're going to do like a full platform walkthrough just to show you how everything works, and you'll kind of get a sneak peek into the app. Before we jump into that walkthrough, though, I wanted to just take a minute to share a little bit of context around what we're seeing across hiring teams right now. Like Carla says, everybody has like different challenges, but one of the more common things we hear from clients is not that hiring is hard necessarily because they don't care. They're not necessarily trying to find the right people. It does tend to become a little bit difficult just because so much of the process may live in different places. So applications sometimes come through job boards, the notes might live on a spreadsheet or an email or paper, and there's not really an easy way to see where candidates are in the process, or like if multiple people are involved, deciding like, okay, hey, who needs to take the next step? So what we're seeing ends up happening is teams are spending a lot of time trying to just stay organized instead of actually engaging and communicating with candidates or making those hiring decisions. So that's usually the point where hiring starts to feel a little bit overwhelming, maybe, inconsistent in your organizations. So with having an applicant tracking system, it's really about bringing structure and visibility into that process. It gives you like a single place to manage applicants, to track your progress, communicate with not only your internal team, but also those candidates, and then hopefully stay aligned internally without adding all the unnecessary complexity and all these different, spreadsheets and notes and such. For ESI clients specifically, the goal with ESI hiring is to give you a tool that just supports a way that you already hire, right? So we're not trying to tell you like, okay, here's how your process needs to look like, but rather there are a bunch of tools in place that can help make it easier for your team to stay organized, move a little bit quicker in the hiring process, and just have better visibility into what's working. And if those things aren't working, well, hey, you can go in, make some adjustments to your account, kind of customize it, and make it work for your organization. So this is going to be really helpful for those hiring volume changes, or maybe when multiple people are involved in reviewing those candidates and making decisions. Hopefully today you'll kind of get some insight on how you can kind of customize your account to make it work for you. So with that context, we'll go ahead and jump right into the platform and walk you through what it looks like in practice. Along the way, if you have questions, we do have additional team members on this call. You can type it in the chat. You can put it in the Q&A. We will also leave time at the end to answer additional questions if there's anything kind of pending. Alrighty. So on my screen here, I have what we call the hiring dashboard. Now, when you get your account, which we are going to get those created for you all, you will be receiving a message following this webinar just with how to log in and your credentials and such. Yours might look a little bit different. I do have a demo account up here, so branding might be just slightly different. Color scheme might be slightly different, but the dashboard in itself, it's going to be the same. Although when you first get an account, it might be a little bit blank. Mine here does have some data for us today, so we'll kind of use this as a guide for what you can expect to see once you have some candidates coming through and some jobs actually posted online. Alrighty, so on your dashboard, I'm just going to walk you through. At the top here, you'll have things like just at a glance analytics. So how many, openings do I have? How many total applicants do I have coming through? One thing that's really cool that I love to highlight, highly recommend when you get your system and your login credentials, we have a calendar integration that's really cool. If you click on view your calendar, you can actually connect your external calendar. We work with some of those bigger providers that you're used to seeing. So you'll see Google, Apple, Microsoft Exchange, Outlook, 365. It's really neat because if you connect your calendar, you can actually send interview invites over to candidates, and then it syncs with your external calendar. So that way, when you're scheduling interviews, not only are you seeing them on your hiring dashboard, but you will also see them on your external calendar. So it's a really easy way to have both systems talk to each other so you can keep some organization in that sense. And then additionally to down here, if you do ever do interviews with remote conferencing, so maybe you're doing like phone screenings through Zoom or you use Google Meets, you can also add your video conferencing accounts. And then that way everything's synced up. They will link for you, create those meeting links, and it's kind of done all in one when you send that interview scheduling tool. So calendar is really cool. Highly recommend you to go in and connect that. Another thing that you'll have available, and this is really cool because I do find that a lot of, maybe you're a smaller company, maybe you're a newer company, you're going through branding changes. With having the ATS, it's really easy to brand your careers page. So just by having the application, you are going to get a hosted careers page, which you can pretty much get started really easily. All you have to do is upload a logo, and then you're able to change the color schemes here too. So I have this blue and pink color. I will show you how to do this in the settings in just a bit. But even if you have no web development experience or anything like that, you're going to be able to go through and brand your careers page and customize it pretty easily just by having an ATS available for you. Alrighty. And then here on notifications, this is going to be like your inbox. So as you start communicating with candidates, maybe they're signing off on their offer letters, and obviously those are things we want to know. Anything that requires your attention is going to pop up on communications. So that way it's front facing, you're not going to miss anything, and you can go ahead and manage your communication directly from your dashboard. Alrighty, now scrolling down, I do have a couple of positions posted here, just so you can see what a live account looks like. Now, when you first get your account, obviously yours is going to be a little bit blank. But if you did want to kind of get a lead on everything and post your first job, you would hit this little create a new job button, and it's going to walk you through like a little checklist, like, hey, give me a job title, let's put your job description, and then walk you through all the steps of building out that position. What we'll do today is I do want you to see one that's already created so that you have a sense of what it looks like when we already enter all those details. So I'm going to use this certified nursing assistant position as an example, but it's going to take us to the same place as if we were posting a new job, only this is already filled in for me since it's already completed. Alrighty, so when you build out the job, like we said, it's going to ask you, hey, give me your job title, job description. If you ever have any trouble or you're not sure what something means, along the way, we've kind of given you some hints, best practices, tips, and tricks with these little question marks. So feel free to visit the question marks and see, what does this field mean? What should I put in here? Best practices. Now we also have a bunch of AI features that you'll see along the way, one of them being a job description generator. These are included with the platform, so feel free to use them as a tool. If you are hiring for a brand new position, maybe you've never created this job before, maybe you've never, hired a front desk staff. You can use our little job description generator. It will pre-populate a job description for you, and then you can make adjustments as needed if you want to kind of tailor it a little bit more unique. Now, one thing that's cool too, I will show you this at the end when we get to the settings, but you're going to have the option to have kind of like a repository of job description templates. So if you find yourself hiring similar positions over and over again, maybe you're always hiring front desk staff, cashiers, customer service reps, you can set up the job description templates, and then that way you just have to pick from the template and it will pre-populate the job description for you in this little box here. So that way you're not having to recreate the wheel every time. There are a lot of templates in place that can kind of make things go a little bit faster once you are comfortable and you start to get going. All right, scrolling down, you're going to have a couple fields to fill in. So things like, hey, what's the location, address, city, state. If you do hire remotely, you can check on this little box. And then pay rate is really unique too. We have a lot of features in place that kind of help guide in compliance trends. So compliance also seems to be something that just everybody's talking about right now. Everything's changing. We're constantly having to keep up with new laws and new state laws and new local laws. So there are some tools in place to help you with that compliance piece, one of them being the pay rate. Notice here that when I enter the pay rate here, it is an optional field. Because I am in Texas, Texas does not currently have pay transparency laws. But if I were to change this, for example, to, let's say, California, this field is no longer optional. It is required. It will make you fill in a pay rate since California does have some of those pay transparency laws. So just a lot of little features in place to kind of help you keep up with some of those compliance trends along the way, just to make things a little bit easier as we go through. I will talk about some other things we have, EOC reporting. We have preferred name on job applications as well. Alrighty, and then as we scroll down, a lot of fields are going to be optional in here, but I like to open the Advanced Options Center because this will give me specific settings for this job posting. Not all of your jobs are going to be the same. Maybe for some, resume is good enough. Maybe for others, I really also want to see a cover letter. So this is where it's going to allow you to really tailor your job postings and the settings accordingly. So you'll notice here, hey, I can, require resumes. I can, make sure that remote status is showing. One thing that's really cool is one of the biggest perks of having an applicant tracking system in place, specifically with ESI hiring, is when you post a position, you are going to get access to our free job board distribution as long as this little guy is toggled on. So what that means is all you're responsible for is creating the job. We are responsible for distributing that job. So we're going to send this out to all of these job boards that you see on here for free. Now, they do also have pay-to-play options. If you want to sponsor posts, maybe some of you are already doing that, you are welcome to do so. But a lot of people, I feel, get big benefit out of just posting with that free organic distribution. So that is one of the perks of having an ATS. You just have to post it in the one spot, and then we will send it out to all of these job boards for you for free. And you are going to be able to see, hey, where are my candidates coming from, so that you can make sure, okay, I can see most of my people are coming from Indeed, maybe LinkedIn. Alrighty, scrolling down, you can change form language on the applications if you want. So I do have some clients that have maybe two different applications. They'll have one in English, one in Spanish, maybe one in Portuguese. So if that is the case, you can change application form language here. And then as we scroll down, really cool. Application forms are one of my best tools that I highly recommend to most of my clients. This is where you can add additional questions on your initial application. So obviously when we go through and we apply for a job posting, it's going to ask us for like, hey, give me your name, phone number, address, email, give me your resume. But you as the recruiter, maybe there are additional things you want to gauge on your candidate other than just like a resume, right? Maybe you want to know, do you have a specific certification? Are you authorized to work in the US? Do you consent to a background check authorization form? Just anything additional that maybe you want to gather on the application, you can kind of customize those questions here through our form builder. Now notice these can also be set up as templates, or you can start from scratch. We have some here that are really cool. I'll do this one, the one that says, do you have a nursing license? So let's open that one up. So when you go to add a question, it's going to give you a bunch of different question types here that you see on the top. Text or essay, think of these like short, long response questions. Maybe you want to ask somebody like, well, what do you know about us? Why are you interested in working for us? These will allow them to answer in a free text format. You also have multiple choice, select one. Yes or no do tend to be the more common types of questions I see on applications. These do have some customization surrounding them too. So for example, let's say I really need to know if my applicant has a nursing license. I may choose to automatically disposition if the candidate selects maybe no. And what that does is I have the system automatically, weeding out those candidates who don't meet a specific criteria that I'm looking for. So what we're seeing right now is the market's really saturated. We're getting a lot of applications for a single job posting, and it's making it tricky for some of these HR managers and recruiters to look through everybody's application. So these are tools in place that you can use to kind of have the system automate some of that sorting through your candidates if they're not meeting a specific criteria that you're looking for. Alrighty. Now, alternatively, maybe you don't want to knock somebody out of the process. Maybe instead I just want to tag if the candidate chooses no, because I want to highlight that like, hey, they don't have a nursing license, but maybe we can help them get their hours or such. So maybe I don't want to disposition them from the process, but I do just want to tag them if they answer a specific way. Here's where you can set up those customization and automations on the back end. Alrighty. So really cool piece. I feel like it's an awesome tool to use to your advantage, especially if you find you're just getting a lot of volume and it's becoming a little bit overwhelming to review everybody. All right, so we'll save our questions for this one. And then as we scroll, bunch of automations in place. We will cover these a little bit later, but we do have automated messages to go out at specific stages of that hiring process if you wanted to set those up. And then down here under hiring manager is where you can attach certain users to the posting to further limit like roles and permissions. So maybe you are a larger organization and like, maybe I don't want my operations team seeing my sales positions. They don't have any business in there. I can go ahead and assign the right managers so that way they have access to review the jobs just for the ones they've been assigned. All right. Now, if this all looks good, your job looks good, you're ready to post, you're ready to start getting candidates, make sure this little publish button is online. And then we're going to hit save, and this is going to push this job out, not only to your careers page, but also to all those job boards we talked about a little bit earlier. Now on this little reports tab, you're going to be able to keep up with where your candidates are coming from. So it's a really cool way to see like, hey, my candidates are coming from Google, or most of my people are coming from LinkedIn. So the performance report is going to be really neat to kind of keep up with, just to see, hey, how has my posting been doing? And if you did want to see the job online, you wanted to see your work of art, what you've just created, you can click on View Job Online. This is going to show you the job description you made. And you can actually see the application process for this too. Another thing I want to point out, the application that we have set up is really easy to complete. So the candidate's not having to go in and create a username and password. They can pretty much just enter their contact details, upload a resume, answer some of my little questions here, and then quickly hit submit on the bottom. So you're not going to lose out on quality candidates because your job application is like repetitive, or maybe it has too many steps involved. So really easy application process for somebody to go through and just fill this out really quickly. Alrighty. One thing too is really cool. We have built in text messaging SMS capabilities. So with having just your platform, you already have the ability to enable SMS messaging. How that works is if I agree to receive text messages as a candidate, in my profile, you will be able to send me a message, not only to my email, but also to my phone. This is really great because a lot of people, they're not always in their email inbox. So if you want a fast response, usually people will respond a little bit quicker through text. So they can opt into text messaging on this page. Alrighty. And then down here, like we talked about, you are going to get free job board distribution. But if you did want to explore sponsored postings, you can either purchase directly from this shopping cart page. It's kind of like a one-stop shop for all the different job boards that you see. Or you can also connect your Indeed account if you have a company page already. Maybe you already have sponsorships going. Maybe you have credits. You can also just connect your account and handle billing with Indeed if you didn't want to go through this. All right, we are not going to buy anything today. We're just going to use the free ones for now. So we're going to skip this step. But once your job is posted, you will see it appear on your jobs listing page here. So we have our little certified nursing assistant position, and then you can manage it directly from your main dashboard. Now on here too, you're going to have settings for your postings. So if you need to go back, make changes to your job, little pencil icon lets you edit it. You also have the ability to take it offline. So in this one, I already have 100 applicants. Maybe I found somebody who's really qualified. We already sent them an offer. Maybe I want to toggle it offline. You're welcome to take it offline. And then extra settings for things like maybe I want to import a couple resumes that I have in my inbox. Great. Use our little resume import tool. One that I really, really love is going to be the poster builder option, especially for those organizations that have physical locations or maybe have traffic, like walk-through traffic. This is really cool because it lets you build out those QR code text to apply posters that you may have seen everywhere. I know I've seen these at McDonald's, recently seen them at TJ Maxx that just says like, hey, we're hiring. So you can customize your little poster, add a logo on here. And then when you download, you can display this little poster somewhere at your organization. Whoever walks by can see that you're hiring for a specific position, scan that QR code, be taken directly to the application and apply directly from their phone. So you can capture additional foot traffic, or maybe you're going to job fairs and stuff like that. This is another great way to get additional candidates that are not coming from your website or the job boards. And these are customizable, so you can update them as needed. Alrighty, I'm going to take a peek at the chat here just for 1 sec to make sure there's nothing I am missing. And then we are going to switch gears in just a sec. We are going to look at how to review candidates. Alrighty, so once you have a couple candidates come through, every job is going to get its own little card, so you can manage it individually, and then you'll have some analytics on your candidates here at the bottom. Now, if I want to see my candidates, I can click in on the job title. And this is going to take us to what we call the applicant viewer. So now we're switching away from the jobs, and we're actually looking at our candidates here. Most of your candidates are going to get sorted into the tabs you see here. So new is anybody we're currently reviewing. Once we assign them a star rating, if we do, they get moved into the rated folder. Archived are people that we are not moving forward with, so we're going to move them to the archived folder. And then if I just want to see everybody on one page, I do have the all applicants option. Now from here, you do get a little bit of a snippet of somebody's profile. So I can quickly see like, okay, Sarah has, she's in this stage of the hiring process, and then she has these tags assigned to her, these qualifications. But you're going to be able to rate through your candidates. Maybe you want to rate by star ratings. So you could say, hey, let me pull up everybody with 4 or 5 stars. Maybe you want to rate by statuses, and statuses are typically those stages involved in the hiring process. These are completely customizable to your organization. So everybody's steps are going to look a little bit different. I'm going to show you how to customize these in just a bit. And then we can also filter by tags, which is usually like either a little bit of a skill set that I asked in those questions. So maybe for this position, I'm really looking for some of my Spanish speaking applicants. I can sort by that specific tag, and it's going to pull up those candidates with that Spanish speaking tag. So let's take a peek at Sarah here. Once I click on the name, it's going to pull up their entire profile. So it's a really easy way to manage all of their information in one spot, and then we sort it into the different tabs you see here. So applicant info brings in like their contact info, where they came from, which is really important for us to know. Reviews is going to have scorecards. If you did want to create like a structured interview feedback process, you can rate the candidate, write some notes in here. The resume tab is going to have the parsed version of their resume. Another AI tool that's really cool is this little resume analysis tool. This will actually compare the job description you created along with their resume and give you like a little strengths and weaknesses list on the candidate. Obviously, it's not perfect. You are the HR person, you know what you're looking for, but just a really cool way to see what they have that may be, you know, strong qualities for this specific position. Questions tab is going to bring any questions that we asked, like the one, hey, do you have nursing license? Are you over 18? Files and restricted files is going to have anything that was uploaded. And then also if we do send out offer letters or background checks, they do come back into the restricted file section just because those sometimes contain a little bit more sensitive data than the rest of the files. And then notes is another spot where you can just write notes on the candidate. And activities like a little audit of everything that's been done and clicked with this candidate in particular. At the top here, once you review the candidate and you're like, hey, great, I want to move them to the next stage, you're going to be able to message the candidate directly from here. Now, there are some templates that we give you to start with, so they're not completely blank, but you are welcome to create your own message templates in here because everybody's going to have a different idea of what kind of language and tone you want to use. So notice here, Sarah did opt into text messaging, so I can either choose to send her a message through her email, or I can also send it to her phone. So I can pick from one of my templates, and then it's going to pre-populate that message for me. I can quickly send it over, get some availability from Sarah. Under messages too is going to be the interview request option. This is really cool. If you did connect to your calendar, it's going to allow you to schedule interviews directly from the platform. 2 ways you can do so. Picking a specific time let's assume you spoke on phone and you agreed that next Monday, 9 a.m. was a good option. You can pull up your calendar availability. And then see when you're free. So any of these green little time slots is what's available on my calendar. I could pick from one of these and then go ahead and send all the meeting details over to the candidate. Now, the other option that's really cool is if you wanted to give the candidate some options for interview times, you can choose this, let your candidate choose the time option. Works same way, only this time you can select multiple time slots to send over to the candidate. And then that way, when they get this request, they do have to select from one of these 5 time slots that I sent. So similar to Calendly, if you've ever suggested like different times for people to meet. Under the share button, you can share this candidate's profile internally with your team. 2 ways to share. The first one is via a link. Maybe you have a Slack or Microsoft Teams and you want to quickly shoot over a link to your coworker and say, hey, what do you think about this candidate? Or alternatively, you can also share via a note. I can send this to one of my coworkers and say, hey, can you please review Sarah? Tell me your thoughts, maybe write some notes in there. Alternatively, under the verify button, you're going to have any supplemental purchases. So we do have a background check vendor built into the system. If you don't have one that you're working with currently, you can go through and just complete background checks, kind of like with an a la carte menu. Reference checks are also an option here that are an additional cost. The system will prompt you to put a credit card on file, and then you can check out directly from here. And then this one does have EOC surveys enabled, so we could potentially send out that EOC survey if they hadn't filled it in yet. Now, another thing that's really cool is you can build out your offer letter through the system. So with sending an offer, I'll go back so you can see this from the start. Everybody's offer letter is going to be a little bit different, but basically it's going to collect the candidate details to pre-populate on your offer letter. We can indicate additional details like, hey, what kind of, what's the pay rate for this? What's the pay consistency? And then we can have multiple offer letter templates. So maybe you have an exempt versus non-exempt version of the offer letter. You'll select which template you want to use for this specific position. And then this is going to pre-populate some of those details on your offer letter. So it's going to bring in the contact's name, position they applied for, their salary, all of the additional details you included. You're going to be able to add additional documents if there's something you need to either send or collect. Some people send like a benefits one-pager. Maybe they want to collect a copy of a certification or something like that. You can do that as a packet with the offer letter. And then it's going to let you preview the offer letter and send a little note to the candidate. Now they are going to have to digitally, electronically sign off on the offer letter. So the candidate's going to get an email signing off. And then once it comes back, it does get stored in the restricted file section of your profile. And you'll get a notification when it comes back too. Alrighty. So once offer letter is sent and it comes back signed, you are able to mark the applicant as hired if you do choose to hire them, and then complete next steps. So that's pretty much the applicant viewer in a nutshell. If there are any questions, you can type them in the chat box for us, and we'll be sure to revisit those at the end of this. Alrighty, now there are a lot of customizations available in the system. I will not overwhelm you and go through every single one, but when you first get your application, there are a couple that I think would be helpful to visit just to kind of get you started. So from your main dashboard page, you're going to have this little main menu button on the top right corner. And then I would encourage you to visit the account details section. This is going to have all of your settings, all of your customizations in one spot. So if there's anything you need to change or adjust, it's probably in here. Like I said, I'm not going to click every single circle to overwhelm you, but there are a couple of spots that I always recommend clients visit when they first get started. So first things first, you'll want to go through and visit the Manage Users option. This is going to show you who has access into the ATS and also allow you to add additional users. So if there's somebody that you need to add to the system, you can just enter their details and then assign them what kind of access level they should have from here. Now, the second piece of this is these two kind of go hand in hand. So I would also visit the roles and permission section if I do plan on adding additional users, because here's where you can very specifically assign what those permissions are going to look like for each user. So for example, admins are going to have access to every single thing in the system, including making changes to settings, templates, all that good stuff. But you can set up a manager role who maybe doesn't need as much access as the administrator, and then decide like, hey, do I want this manager role to be able to view the EOC reporting survey data? Maybe not. So I'll choose to uncheck that box. Maybe I also under here, maybe I don't want my managers to be the ones sending messages. Maybe that's restricted just for the HR admin. Cool. Uncheck some of these options under the manager option, and then you can save it. And that way you're kind of limiting some of the functionality that you want people to be able to do. So this is a good spot to visit when you first get your account. Make sure you have your permission level set so that way people are not either having extra access that you don't need them to have, or maybe poking around for buttons that they don't have access to currently. Alrighty. All right, and then another spot that I would definitely visit is going to be the templates section. So you don't necessarily need to do anything in here to get started and post a position, because we already gave you some generic templates to start with. However, there are a couple that I feel like people typically do like to update. So the first one that I would recommend is going into the messages templates and just making sure that the messages that we gave you are aligned with your organization. These are pretty generic, so if you did want to update them or put your own little spin on the messages, you are welcome to edit the ones that we gave you. Or if you wanted to start a new template, cool, just add a template from scratch, title it, put a subject line, write the body just like you would an email, and then you can save it and it'll be part of one of your message templates here. Additionally, I would also recommend, especially if you do have an offer letter, go through and copy and paste maybe an existing offer letter that you have into your template. And then as you do get more familiar with the system, job descriptions are good to pre-populate in here, especially if you're hiring similar jobs over and over again. It's a good idea to just have them in your library, along with the application form, which are going to be those questions. So if you're always hiring a nurse and your nurses get a certain set of questions, it's a good idea to create a template, and then that way it's a lot faster when you post because you can just pull in the template for those. Alrighty, so those are the couple spots I would visit when I first get the system. And then the other one that's going to be really neat is this look and feel section will let you brand your careers page. So when you first get the system, you're going to have that hosted careers page we talked about, but it's going to be blank. So you'll want to go in here and update your logo. Just upload it from your computer. And then you can grab your organization's hex values. So that way you're able to change the color scheme of your page. If you don't know your hex values, put your link on ChatGPT and you can just ask ChatGPT what are my hex values from my website, and it'll pull it up for you. All right. Now, as you start to get familiar and you post that first job and you get candidates come through, you probably will have questions, which is great. Do want to make sure you know how you can get support to those questions if you need to. Under a little support menu here, we have a couple ways you can get your questions answered. So the first one is via support database. If you're like me and you like to figure things out on your own, you can type in anything you want. For example, if I want to know what's in here about free job boards, I can just type in free job boards and then, hey, what free job boards are available? We have pretty much an article on everything you could imagine, along with video tutorials, steps included, all that good stuff. So if you can't find it on here, or you prefer to speak to someone, that's okay too. Under the support tab, you also are going to have the option to submit a support ticket. And not showing in my account, but in your live account, you will also have a live chat option. So if there is somebody that you want to talk to or you need answered immediately, feel free to use the live chat feature. It is built into the platform. You will be connected with a member of our team, not a robot, a real person. And they are pretty quick at responding, usually in like a couple minutes or so. So that's a great way to get assistance really quickly if you need something. Alrighty, I know we went through a lot of stuff today. Obviously, this is going to be put into practice. That's the best way to learn. But like we said, we are here along the way. If you have questions or need additional resources, let us know. I don't see any questions in the chat or the Q&A just yet, but I do want to just take a pause here and open it up for any questions, any comments, any concerns, anything that you might want to chat about before we end off.
Yeah, and while we wait, I just want to remind everyone this is being recorded, so we're happy to share a link to the recording afterwards. And your HR business partners are on this call too, so if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to them, and they're happy to walk you through it. Everyone will be getting a link directly from HiringThing, letting you know your accounts are active and you can start to play with it. I'm not sure when that'll happen. I believe it'll happen this week, though, so very soon.
Nicole, on the templates that you had there, the merge fields, if you wanted to get a little custom in there, do you have a merge field key or understanding if somebody hasn't been used to making merge fields?
Yeah, that's a really good question, actually. And what he's talking about, for those of you that kind of missed that, under the messages tab, there are some pre-populated fields in the body of the messages. So you'll notice here it says company, full name, applied for. So that way, when we send out the message, it's going to customize that field based on like the position they applied for, the person's name, company name, such. Best way to do it, especially if you don't have experience with this stuff, no worries. It's not difficult at all. You do have the field names available here on the right-hand side. So what you want to do is if you're creating a message from scratch, you could say, hi, and then be sure to copy and paste that little pre-populated field in the body of your message, just so that the system will pick it up. And when you send out the message, it's going to grab that person's full name, and you can use any of these field names that we have available here. Sometimes people use the wrong brackets, so I always recommend like, hey, if you're unsure, just copy and paste it from here, but whatever you see on this menu item is what you'll have available as a pre-populated field, so just grab it from here and paste it in the body of your message. That is a really good question. If you want to get real fancy, there are some, these are HTML compatible too. So some of you may have, maybe you have a previous ATS system that has like photos, pictures, videos, or something in your messages too. As long as the HTML code is on there, you can copy and paste it into the body of your message and it'll format it for you as well. So if you got real fancy messages, you are welcome to use those too.
And Nicole, you had when you were going through the editing of the job itself, and other than tags, you had another section there that would, I think it would scan the resumes for specific words, like a point system. Is there a way to go back and kind of touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, good question. Also, what Corey is referring to is, as we scroll down, you'll notice a lot of these fields are optional, including tags. But what you are referring to is this keyword detect option, which is really helpful, especially if you're getting the high volume of people coming through and you're trying to sort through them. Basically, if there's anything you want to see parsed from people's resumes, you can start to list out keywords here separated by comma. So that way the system auto tags that candidate for you with that skill set. So for example, maybe for a nurse position, I'm really looking to see CNA, license, RN, just anything that might help me distinguish, like I'm really looking for the specific skill set, the specific qualification. Maybe I want Spanish speaker, bilingual, whatever it is that I'm looking to parse from somebody's resume. Feel free to start listing them out as keywords. System will parse that resume for you with that keyword and then highlight in a tag format anybody who comes in with that specific skill set. So a really good tool to use. When you start to get really comfortable with it, feel free to use keyword detect because it's going to be a a good feature to kind of weed out some of those more qualified candidates for you.
And I forget, but does that show up on the list of candidates, the keyword detect section?
Yeah, the keyword detect is going to create a candidate tag. So it's going to look like this in their profile. So for example,
Okay.
If I had like manager experience or nurse license somewhere on there, it's going to parse it, create that applicant tag. So I'm going to be able to filter through that tag in my list of candidates here.
Great.
Awesome. Really good questions in here. And like we said, in the beginning, you're probably going to just like post a job, get started. And then once you start using the system, I find people usually like want a lot more automations, want a lot more just like customizations in place. When that happens, reach out to our team. We'll always suggest best practices from what we're seeing. And we can kind of help you come up with better ways of doing things if you want.
Great. I did have one more, might be a tougher one, but on the job boards, and there's custom or the free ones, and then the ones you can connect to for pay. What if there's specific ones, let's say engineers or specific sites that aren't on the marketplace? Is that something that is ability to connect to, or is that just something you have to kind of do a two-step process?
A little bit of both. We can manually post on any like niche website. Like I'll give you an example. I work with a lot of schools and they have very specific job boards that they use that are not like Indeed, LinkedIn, those kinds of things. So a couple ways that we do it is either the client wants to do it themselves, which is fine. Every job itself is going to have a unique URL. So what typically happens with these niche job boards is they have a place to put an external link so that people can connect their ATSs. So what you can do is, let's say I'm using this general neurologist position as an example. This is going to have its own unique link. So this essentially would be that external link that when I go to post on that job board, I can make sure that I'm including this link so that it redirects people to apply to my ATS. And then I make sure that regardless of where my traffic is coming from, I get the candidates coming through ESI.
Great.
Alternatively, if you didn't want to do it manually, that's fine too. We'll do it on your behalf for you. When you go to post a position, if there's a specific job board that you know you like to work with, there's an option down here on my shopping cart menu where you can submit a request for a specific job board. Our support team will do research on what that looks like, how to post on that external job board that we're not seeing here. And then they will give you the best scenario on like, hey, yes, we can post this for you, or actually they don't have this capability for us to post, but there are additional ways we can do that engineering wise with like an RSS feed, or if the job board is open to doing a little bit more connection on their end, we're open to that too. So if you're not seeing it on here, submit a request. We'll let you know kind of like what next steps look like, just because everybody's a little bit different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. So the immediate would be the URL, and then you could also do the request and see. That's perfect.
Yeah, as more of an automated option, I would say. Cool.
All right, Carla, I don't have any more questions, so go ahead.
And I don't see any. Okay, well, thank you, Nicole. We really appreciate it. I've learned quite a lot today, so I really appreciate your time showing us this.
Alrighty, sweet. Well, we will get those logins and accounts created for you all. And then, like we said, if you have any issues, you can submit a support ticket or reach out to your HR business partner and we'll get you all sorted.
All right, thank you. And thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.